Justin and Eric. Welcome to the Overgrown Third Graders Podcast.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks for having us. So we launched the company officially last July. We spent last year kind of doing some music videos, some short films, some commercial work, just kind of anything to keep the doors open and get to know the area, start meeting crew. And then going into this year, one of the biggest things last year was the release of Where's Rose and learning all about distribution and sales. And we were just so confused at the lack of transparency across the board. And we started doing more digging and understanding like so many indie filmmakers out there don't get the proper transparency as to what's happening with their film. And they spend years making something and, pouring their hearts into this, and especially these passion projects that are fueled by the filmmakers. And then they sign a deal that they don't quite understand with a distributor, and they never see a dollar. And there's like marketing costs they never see. So that was something that we realized if we want to be stimulating the local economy, building the local independent scene, if we can do anything to kind of pull back the curtain on the distribution process, distribution process, getting that stuck in my mouth tongue twister, and teach as many people as we can while we figure it out ourselves, because we're still learning it. It could be a great way for filmmakers to kind of, take back that power and start to make careers and make their own money off of their films so they can continue making new and interesting art. So we've kind of have a two-pronged approach to the company this year, where we've been looking to acquire some smaller films from the area and start case study driving out how do you sell a film internationally? How do you attend film markets? What does that look like? What is the marketing process for it? Is there ways where we can, sell to a TV station in a foreign territory from my closet office here in Portland? And then also start prepping to produce and release the film that I wrote, which will be my directorial debut feature. And that is called Cryptochrome.
It's a sci-fi horror musical.
That's the project. When I first moved up to Portland, I started writing, and we've been kind of honing in and building out our local team. I can't say too much about it right now because we're still in some pretty early stages. But we just started bringing on some larger players in the area, and we're getting ready to start our full fundraising push right now. But yeah, sci-fi horror musical, kind of shooting all over the place in Oregon. Going to be a very exciting, challenging project, and a little bit bigger in scale than Where's Rose.
And on that same token, while Where's Rose was produced by the company and I shot it, and Justin was one of the producers, Cryptochrome will be the first Barnegat Studios original film it's going to be the first of many films that we're hoping to produce in the Pacific Northwest as part of our big vision of bolstering this really, really awesome indie film community and just keeping it sustainable for the people that want to live up here and still have a career in filmmaking. And that's a big passion of ours too. So this film is the first step in that, which is exciting for us.
And then we actually just this past week, we're making an announcement next week, but I'll make the first announcement here. We actually acquired our first film for international sales, I believe 2 days ago. It's called I Need You Dead. It's from a local filmmaker here in Portland. He's actually out in New York getting ready to do his next film, Flapjacks. When I first moved here, I saw it in a drive-in that he put on. His name is Rocco Zeppenberg. And it was a really interesting, crazy film. And I was blown away by the talent, what he was able to do with a film that was, I believe it was sub 50,000. And since he kind of went through the same process with distributors, and I think it was the distributor he was with was bought out by somebody else and just kind of lost in the fold. So this is going to be our first film that we're going to be releasing overseas, and just documenting the entire process on our website so people can see what is it like, what are we doing, how does this work, how do you contact international sales agents and put that out.
And what is that website?
It is barnegatstudios.com.
There you go, people.
We just updated the site with I Need You Dead. So that's going to be on our homepage right now. And there you can watch the trailer, take a look at the really talented team that was able to get that thing made, and follow along. At the very bottom of the film's page is a little blog that we're going to be updating throughout our entire process. Because as you know, as much as we want to teach other people, we're teaching ourselves here too, which is really exciting. Something that we've never done before, and something that we've always wanted to do as a company, and we just never found the opportunity to do it until now. So yeah, big steps.
Do you guys plan on, because I know you guys are doing independent stuff, do you guys plan on doing anything like in the I don't know, like with a major studio at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always the goal. There's also great ways to, work with the studios with the negative pickups where you make the movie and then you get a deal with the studio. I know this next project, Cryptochrome, we also have a slate of prequels and sequels and spinoffs for that. A goal for us would be if we can hit it big on an independent that you can franchise. That could create a lot of work in the area, the ability for us to bring on new directors, new content creators to kind of just take that for a ride and see where it can go, and offer people a chance to, expand the universe in their own way, and also create higher income for everybody.
Cryptochrome just getting going. You've been doing the writing. How long of a process is it from pretty much when you put the pen to paper to when you envision it coming out? How long is that?
I started the initial draft in May 2020. So I just finished a new draft today. So it's been a long process. I think that we'll probably be writing through production. I'm very much if we can find a better way to do it, let's just keep it going. Especially with we've had a really wonderful actress who's been attached from the beginning and helping kind of workshop one of the main characters. There's a lot of discovery on set. You figure out a lot of things when you're really in it. And I like to run my sets where if we can find a better way to say things, if there's a better way to show something, as long as we're servicing like the main story, let's adapt, let's change it, let's go crazy with it. Kill your darlings process. If we can find a better way to do it, then let's do it.
I will also add too, even though the script was written in May of 2020, when we started our company last June, we were really, really focused on client commercial and music video work. We had aspirations to make this feature at some point soon, but it wasn't really a priority. It was kind of just like getting money into the company and kind of keeping the lights on. And so really when January rolled around and we kind of burnt ourselves out with a lot of this client work, we're like, you know what, let's just focus 100% of our operating power to getting this movie made and in the hands of the right people. And there's been a lot of really huge progress that has been made in the 3 months when we were just able to kind of make this our sole focus. And that was that's really cool to see the amount that you can just get done when you actually just dedicate all of your time to it,
The one thing we did learn from Where's Rose was if you can speed up your post-production process as quick as possible, it's better for sales, because you get so much momentum from physical production and pushing marketing that if you can keep rolling that into your sale, there's still that interest, there's still that audience, and making sure you stay, relevant is always important. Because sometimes things hit, sometimes there's like that moment in time where this is perfect and, you wait a few months too late and it just might not be there anymore. So really capturing that lightning in a bottle. There are planes involved in this next one. The main character is a pilot. So we talked about a few sequences potentially being shot on the volume. So for something like that, it's a matter of coordinating with the studio, coordinating with their VFX team, our VFX team, seeing, obviously what rates work, what falls under our budget, and then booking the space and, shooting it like anything else, any other location. I think it all comes down to, and this is with any art form, it's what's the story you're trying to tell and what's the best medium to tell it in.
Right.
And sometimes it's like you get a very immersive story that does better as a video game than it would as a movie or a TV show. So it's just, there's a ton of tools, there's a ton of different mediums. And personally, I don't know if I'll ever end up making anything in the VR space, but I might have a story that might be best served there. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it does serve its own unique set of challenges to a cinematographer, because a large part of my job is showing the audience where they need to be looking. And when you completely remove that element from it and they can look wherever they want, then conveying the message of the story you're trying to convey becomes a whole new set of challenges. So like Justin said, I think right now I much prefer what are they calling them? The flatties, the 2D movies.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in that lane for the foreseeable future. But yeah.
I think another a cool thing too with VR is for the locations world, if you can put a 360 camera in a location and do a scan, especially if you do like a 12-hour light scan, as a director or as people who are trying to see what's going to be the best location for this scene, throwing on goggles in your office and being able to step onto a location, adjust what time of day, so the light's going to be perfect here. I can block out the whole scene from my office and I don't have to be driving around. I can save those costs. I think development wise and things like that, that's where it's going to be the most useful, at least in my foreseeable future.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Something I had not thought about.
So besides just movies, do you guys plan on doing like TV shows or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, anything's fair game. I know TV would be fun. I got a few TV ideas brewing. I think at some point I definitely want to write a book, just because that would be fun challenge. Plays, anything that can tell a story. Totally down to explore that. Same thing with with Eric with photography. Being able to tell a story through a series of still images in a book that conveys an image, conveys a story. It's super
whole
exciting.
Yeah, we've always had these kind of conversations on like the future of the company, and if it's 50 years down the line, what kind of company do we have? And right now it's very much geared towards film and music videos, narrative storytelling, and all that stuff. But art form in general, I mean, we're artists at our core, and we soak in as much as we would eventually like to be putting out ourselves. And so sky's the limit for where we see our company going. Like Justin said, books, theater, who knows,
So pretty much any medium that's in it. Well, yeah, pretty much any medium basically is kind of like the focus, but your focus right now is film.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the Portland's art community is,
incredible.
Even the PNW at large, it's insane. It's like this, there's so much talent here, and it's not going anywhere. And so it's just meeting up and teaming up with all these really cool people and kind of putting Portland back on the map.
Yeah.
I think Mark Wahlberg just said that he wants to turn Vegas into Hollywood 2.0.
Yeah, I did.
And to that, I say, come up to Portland.
So what inspired you to get into film, and what motivates you to continue this work?
When I was 10, I was given it was called like Digital Blue. It was like a little camcorder geared towards kids, came with its own proprietary editing software, and everything that you pump through that thing looked terrible. But that was my first foray into making movies with my friends. I was never a big movie watcher. But I always loved making my own, and so that kind of lend itself to like my own my own unique films that they were silly, but they were fun, and so that kind of kicked off everything. And in high school I took TV production classes with the understanding that I wanted to go to film school, and that's kind of been my life for the past 18 years since I was 10. Is just wanting to be in this position that I'm at right now.
For me, I grew up I love movies. I've always been an avid movie watcher. I grew up on a lot of blockbusters and old movies. So it's like, watch Casablanca, watch Gone with the Wind, go watch all the Terminator movies, all the Tomb Raider movies, Lord of the Rings. I mean, everything under the sun. But I always thought it was the actors. And it was like, oh, I want to be an actor one day because that's what makes a movie. And it wasn't until I was around 12 or 13, I went and visited Ty and his sister Ryan out in Los Angeles. And I got to see a backlot for the first time and see how many people are actually involved in a movie. And I got my first screenplay in my hands. It was a Law Abiding Citizen, the Gerard Butler movie.
Yeah.
And I just became obsessed with it. And I taught myself how to write screenplays from that and started making stuff with my friends. And when I got into high school, they had like a TV broadcasting program. So I learned all the basic like technical skills, started with a lot of documentary news package work and using what I learned from theater, mixing that. That just kind of took off. And I was really lucky because I found, my passion. And a lot of people, they spend a lot of time trying to find that thing that, gets them up in the morning, they're really passionate about. So I've been a really lucky person to get that early on in my life. And I think there's just, I've got so many stories in my head and so many things I want to say and explore and, figuring things out through art. I think that's been a really interesting process. And letting people, experience that with you and the ability to create something that can then evoke emotion in somebody else or make them look inward. It's an amazing feeling. And I'm just kind of constantly chasing that high, I guess.
How are you guys getting your funding for this project?
So we're looking at a few different avenues right now. We're looking at a mix of private investments. We're exploring international distribution like pre-sales, and that process has been really interesting to learn about, where it's basically you go to the people you normally sell the film to afterwards and you say, hi, this is the script, here's who we're thinking casting wise, do you think this could make money? And they say, we think it could make X amount of money with these people in it, and we're willing to sign an agreement in advance so we can buy your film at a lower cost. And then you take that paperwork to the bank and you say, hi, this is our collateral. If we make the film, they're going to give us this money. So can you loan us the money so we can go make the film? And they say, yeah, we'll do that, but we'll only give you a percentage of what these contracts say. And then you have to go to another company that then becomes like a completion bond and an insurance company. And then also doing like fiscal sponsorship and working with angel investors or VCs, selling equity. It's kind of like just anything you can do to just get the money together, get everybody paid right. And make the film and get it to where people can see it. So that's where we're at right now for this one, especially because it's a little bit larger in scope than Where's Rose. One thing we have stressed, though, is making sure all of our, cast and crew have points on back end. So that way, cool. If we do really well with the film, the people who are working really hard on it have an opportunity that if it's a runaway hit, they can make some extra cash and they get to be a part of that process. So that's been something we've been really making sure gets done.
Do you think that's kind of where the film industry is going to end up going eventually? Because I think what they're doing and what you guys are going to be doing is something that I've never heard of. And I've, watched and I haven't been in the entertainment industry, but I've pretty much had my ear to the ground for a long, long time. That's the first I've ever heard of something like this happening.
If the film industry wants to be around for a while, it will sooner or later realize that like you can't just grind people down to a shell of themselves to constantly be churning out these huge projects every single year. I think, in the past couple of years, we've really been seeing how a lot of these film productions are run and how they're run at sometimes the expense of their crew members. And even films that get made and people like put all of their hard work into it, and then the film just cans it and writes it off for tax purposes. And so, I mean, this is something that like I've always just kind of wanted to do as a kid, be a filmmaker. And so like I know that there is like the larger business side and like you got to make money, and films are a product and they got to make money. But if I like to share that around because on top of what I love doing, it just kind of feels like gravy,
Besides, I know you have this upcoming project in you're kind of wanting to potentially build other things out of that one project, but are there any other genres that you are just maybe wanting to tackle?
Yeah, I know I've got a bunch of films that I'm trying to make. So this one, Cryptochrome, it's a sci-fi horror musical set in a post-apocalyptic PNW. But the next one after that, I'm writing right now. It's a buddy road trip comedy. I also have a baseball film that's sort of like Uncut Gems, but set in the minor league baseball world. That I'm also writing right now. Some dramas, I mean, it really just kind of depends on the genre, but I'm very much driven by character for the films that I like to do. I kind of get attached to a character and then figure out what's the best genre to place them in, or what's the best genre to like mess with them in and see how they would handle that. So that's
Cool.
what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, my personal Instagram is Eric Gesualdo with no space. That's where I post all my photography. I'm not on Twitter. I think Instagram is really the only place you could find me. And then Barnegat Studios is our company account, and then Justin.
Yeah, same thing. It's right there. Justin Boswick, no space in between. That's a really weird angle. That's on everything. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I don't really tweet. I just kind of read stuff and then get upset at Twitter and then just close the app. I'm on TikTok. I haven't made a TikTok in a very long time, but maybe I'll get back into that. And yeah, barnegatstudios.com. Follow us on socials, stay up to date. We'll be posting a lot of blog posts as we kind of develop these projects and have a lot of opportunities for people to, weigh in, check out the process, and be a part of it with us.
These next couple months are going to be really exciting for us as a company. So follow along and stay tuned for more.
You guys have a great night, and thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.
Thanks for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, gentlemen.
Great meeting you.
Bye now. Good meeting y'all.